So in this session, we will discuss the structure questions related to topic group 2 and group 7. So the first one is on page number 11. Before that, all were MCQs, as we have discussed some of them the last session. This question is about some element of group 2 and their compounds. Magnesium reacts slowly with cold water, but it reacts rapidly with steam. For each reaction, name a magnesium compound form and identify the other product form in both reactions. So when magnesium is there, it is mixed with cold water. What will be the product? The product will be magnesium hydroxide. And when magnesium react with water, as a result, what will be the product? So magnesium react with cold water, it will produce magnesium hydroxide, MgOH. And magnesium react with steam, the product will be magnesium oxide. And what is the other product? The other product is hydrogen gas. Calcium chloride can be formed in two ways by reacting calcium with different reagent. Write an equation with state symbols for each of these reactions. So we want to produce calcium chloride. Basically we want to produce a salt. So if we want to produce a salt, we can react acid with metal, or we can react acid with metal oxide, or metal carbonate, or metal hydroxide. So just two equations we have to include their state symbol, or even there's a direct combination, like I can mix calcium in a solid state with chlorine in a gaseous state. When they combine, it will produce calcium chloride. Ionic compounds are solid, so this will be solid. Or calcium is a metal, I can react with hydrochloric acid. As a result, when the calcium metal solid, and the hydrochloric acid is, all acids are aqueous. As a result, most chlorides are soluble except silver, mercury, and lead. So calcium chloride will be aqueous. And acid plus metal gives salt and hydrogen gas. So there will be hydrogen gas, or bubbles will be seen. So these are two ways. Even you can mention metal oxide. If you mention calcium oxide, then there will be water. If you mention calcium carbonate, then there will be water and carbon dioxide. If you mention calcium hydroxide, then there will be calcium chloride plus water. So these are the ways by which we can produce calcium chloride. In thermal decomposition of a group 2 carbonate can be investigated using the apparatus. So what we are doing, we are supplying the heat energy. When the metal carbonate decompose, it gives off carbon dioxide, and then the carbon dioxide will pass through a lime water, which will turn milky. In the presence of carbon dioxide, this lime water turn milky or chalky. So state why it is necessary to remove the delivery tube from a lime water as soon as heat is stopped. Like the moment we stop the heat, we should remove this. Otherwise, what will happen? Because there will be a difference in the pressure, and that difference in the pressure cause the lime water to rise in the test tube, or which we can also say to avoid movement of the lime water or suck back of lime water into a test tube, or otherwise the test tube might crack due to a sudden cooling. Is it clear? Part C, that why we should remove, before removing the heat, like example, as why it is necessary to remove the delivery tube, like why we should remove this delivery tube from a lime water as soon as heating is stopped. The moment we stop the heating, the lime water, because the difference in the pressure, the lime water will move there, and it might, due to a sudden cooling, it might cause a cracking of this tube. So first we should remove the delivery tube, and then we should remove the heat source. Give the formula of a chemical compound in the lime water that react with carbon dioxide. So lime water is basically aqueous calcium hydroxide, and that calcium hydroxide is reacting. So we have to name that and give a formula. So calcium hydroxide formula is CaOH2. Identify a chemical compound that is responsible for cloudiness So which compound, because when calcium hydroxide mixed with carbon dioxide, it will produce calcium carbonate, so CaCO3. Magnesium carbonate, it's a 4 mark. Magnesium carbonate took 2 minutes of heating to produce enough carbon dioxide which will make a lime water cloudy. State and explain the trend in the time of thermal decomposition. State and explain trend in the time taken for decomposition of group 2 carbonate as we descend, as we go down the group. Remember, thermal decomposition always increases as we go down, like it become more stable. So if you have magnesium carbonate will decompose in a short time as compared to calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate decompose in a short time as compared to strontium carbonate. So the thermal stability as we go down the group, that is increasing. And what is the reason? It's a 4 marks. So how you mention, how you write. So here it increases. What is the reason for that? As we go down the group, the size of the positive ion is increasing. Like magnesium is smaller in size compared to that of calcium. Calcium is smaller in size compared to strontium. These positive ions have a tendency to polarize. And smaller positive ions, they all have the same net charge, but smaller positive ion can cause more distortion, so reduces the strength of the negative ion. Here calcium carbonate will be less distorted. Strontium carbonate, small amount of distortion. So when we mention here in terms of distortion, so as we go down the group, the size of atom increases, or we can say the charge density, charge per unit volume decreases, because charge is the same but the volume is increasing, so charge density is decreasing. Then what is the effect of this charge density? So smaller positive ion can cause more distortion, can cause greater distortion or polarization, and as a result of this polarization it reduces the strength of the weakened bonds in carbonate, which result so it weaken the bond in the carbonate, what it result in decomposition or thermal decomposition at lower temperature. So these are the points which you should include when you are writing the answer for this type of question. Is it clear? Explain why a saturated solution of barium hydroxide is more alkaline than saturated solution of magnesium. So as we know, this is about the trend in the solubility. As we know, solubility increases as we go down the group. For hydroxide and nitrate, it increases. For sulfate, it decreases. So when we have magnesium hydroxide, it is less soluble as compared to barium hydroxide. So when barium hydroxide is more soluble, it produces more hydroxide ion as compared to the same amount of magnesium hydroxide. Because like if when we say magnesium hydroxide is less soluble, it means, like example, If we have 100 molecules, out of 100, maybe uh, out of 100, maybe 50 of them, example, 50 of them break down into ions. But when we say barium hydroxide is more soluble, as we go down, the solubility increases. So when it dissociates into barium and hydroxide ion, out of 100 molecule, maybe 90 of them will dissociate into ion. So if 90 of them dissociate into ion, more hydroxide ion. And if we have more hydroxide ion, the solution will be alkaline. So the answer here, you will mention the solubility increases as we go down, increases for hydroxide as we go down. So down the group, the solubility is increasing. So in case of barium hydroxide, it contains more hydroxide ions. That's why it is more alkaline solution. In this question, the color seen in a flame test is a characteristic of a metal ion involved. For example, a barium ion gives a green color, a calcium ion gives a yellow-red color. Explained with reference to the electronic transition involved, how these flame colors are formed and why the flame colors are different. First thing, what is the reason for the flame color formation? When electron jump from one shell to another shell, it absorb energy. So this is the electron here. The electron, when we place the sample on the hottest part of the flame, so it absorb energy. As a result, when it absorb energy, it jumps from a lower level to higher level. And when it, because this electron does not belongs to this shell, so with the after some time, it will return back to the same original level. As a result, when it return back to the same original level, it will give out energy which is equals to difference in the energy of the two shells, and that energy correspond to a color. And why different elements show a different color? Because like even the distance between the shell is not same for elements. Even though, like example, this is shell 1, then for other element shell 2 might be closer, and then shell 3 will be there. So because the shell gap between, or difference between the shell is not same for all elements, that's why they are giving a different colors. So this was explanation, but how to write the answer, exam point of view. So first you will mention the electron absorb energy from lower level and it jumps to higher level. So electron excited to higher level by absorbing energy. Excited or jump to higher level by absorbing energy. But that electron does not remain there. As a result, what happened? The electron jumps back to lower energy level, gives energy which correspond to characteristic color. And why? Because the last part they asked why there's a different color for different elements. So because the difference, like different metals have different energy levels or difference in the energy level. Between the shells, or you can also say energy levels. That's why they give different characteristic colors. Is it clear? That so you should always use the term number one, electron excited or promoted to higher energy level by absorbing a heat energy from the flame, you can mention, because from where they're getting. Then electron return or jumps back to lower energy level or drop backs to a lower energy level, and they're emitting energy, and that energy should be in the, because if they are able to see the color, so they're emitting energy, or you can also say photon, which is a light particle in a visible range. Then light which is there in a visible range correspond to a characteristic color. And then why different metals are giving a different characteristic flame color, as they have different gaps between the shells. So this is always the case for the observation of flame color. If we are not able to observe a flame color, even though, like example, magnesium metal is placed on the hottest part of the flame, but we are not able to see any flame color, that is not due to that it is not emitting. It is emitting, but that is not in a visible range. Our eye is sensitive to 400 nanometer to 700 nanometers. Any wavelength associated with the energy, if it's higher or lower, we are not able to detect that. So magnesium is emitting out, but that's not in a visible range. So sometime in MCQs, you may find this question that why we are not able to see a characteristic flame color. So in that case, you will mention because it's not in a visible range. A solid calcium hydroxide is known as a slake lime. Over 1 billion tons of slake lime are produced annually in UK. The lime water is an aqueous solution of calcium hydroxide. Lime water is used in the lab to test the presence of carbon dioxide. Lime water is a weak base. So weak base, you can mention pH 11. Write an equation including a state symbol that take place when a lime water is used to confirm the presence of carbon dioxide. Aqueous solution of calcium hydroxide contain calcium ion and hydroxide ion. So this part we have to write the equation for that. So we have calcium hydroxide plus carbon dioxide. So calcium hydroxide is there. We add carbon dioxide. As a result, it will produce calcium carbonate plus water. But we have to use a state symbol. So lime water is aqueous calcium hydroxide, carbon dioxide is a gas, calcium carbonate is a solid. That's why the lime water turned milky, and water is there as a liquid. An aqueous solution of calcium hydroxide contains calcium ion, and how many moles of ions are there in 1 mole of calcium hydroxide? So how to work out total moles of ions? So if calcium hydroxide is there, when it dissociate into ion, it will dissociate into calcium Ca plus, and it will dissociate into 2 hydroxide ions. So what is the ratio between one like mole of calcium hydroxide to total number of ions? So one molecule is having 3 ions, one calcium and 2 hydroxide, so ratio is 1:3. So how many moles of ions are there? So there will be 3 moles of ions, because 1 mole of a molecule gives 3 moles of ions. Then how many moles of electron are there in 1 mole of hydroxide? So how many moles of electron are there in 1 moles of hydroxide? So how we can work out? As you can see, hydroxide with having a charge of -1. So oxygen is having 8 electrons, hydrogen is having 1 electron, and this extra electron -1 means there is an extra electron. So total number of electrons which are present in hydroxide are 10. So how many moles of electron are there, or how many electrons are there in 1 mole of hydroxide? So it contains 10 moles of electron, because if we have one molecular ion of hydroxide, it is having 10 electrons. So if we have 1 mole of hydroxide ion, it will have 10 moles of electrons. So that's why 10 is the right answer. Is it clear, this one? Any doubt in this question? So you just have to use the ratio, the mole ratio. The slake lime calcium hydroxide can be prepared by calcium carbonate in two stages. Outline this preparation would be carried out. Include an equation in each stage. State symbols are not required. You do not need to include any detail apparatus, but you should mention any essential condition. So how this can be done? A slake lime is we want to produce. So first what we do, thermal decomposition of a calcium carbonate will produce calcium oxide and carbon dioxide, which is a quick calcium oxide is called a quick lime. And then to this quick lime, we will add, because what is slake lime? Slake lime is calcium hydroxide, and lime water is also calcium hydroxide, but it is aqueous, like dissolved. And we want to produce solid. So first what we should do, thermal decomposition of calcium carbonate should be done. So thermal decomposition of calcium carbonate. What will be the product of this thermal decomposition? The calcium carbonate will decompose into calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. That's one thing. Then what we will do? We will add a small quantity of or you can say drops of water, not too much because we want a solid. So as a result, when calcium oxide, the quick lime, we add water, so calcium oxide is there plus H2O, so it will result in a formation of calcium hydroxide. So first a thermal decomposition is there. So when you mention thermal decomposition or use high temperature, you will get 1 mark. Then you mention the equation, like here calcium carbonate decomposed to calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide, that will give you the second mark. Then the third mark, you will mention adding small quantity or drops of water to calcium oxide. And the fourth mark is for just writing this final equation. Coal-fired power station produces sulfur dioxide. This pollutant gas is toxic and is called an acid rain. Sulfur dioxide combined with water and oxygen in the atmosphere to produce sulfuric acid. Write a balance equation. Include a state symbol for this overall reaction. So what happened? We have sulfur dioxide is there. It is mixed with water and oxygen in the atmosphere, and as a result what it produces H2SO4. So we want to write a balance equation. Basically, to balance oxygen we add water, and two oxygen are already there, so we need two more oxygen, so that's why we put two. So water is there balance, like oxygen is balanced. Then about hydrogen, 2 multiplied by 2 4. We add proton, but we don't have to add a proton because it's already there, so we put 2 here because 2 multiplied by 2 4. So this is balanced in terms of hydrogen. In terms of sulfur, there are two sulfur, so we put 2, so sulfur is also balanced. Now what about oxygen? 4 multiplied by 2 8, and we have 2 multiplied by 2 4 plus 2 6 plus 2 8. So this is the balance equation for formation of sulfuric acid from sulfur dioxide and water and oxygen from the atmosphere. One way of lowering the amount of sulfur dioxide is to pass the waste through calcium oxide. Explain why calcium oxide would be expected to react. So why we expect calcium oxide? Calcium oxide is a metal oxide, or we can also say it's a basic oxide. So calcium oxide, why we expect it to react? Because it is a basic oxide, and basic oxide can react with acid. That's the reason why it will react with sulfuric acid or sulfur dioxide. Magnesium is the eighth most abundant element in the earth crust and is found in a number of mineral deposits. The different compounds are given. Magnesite is there, dolomite is there, cassiterite is there. These minerals and Epsom salt, different description is there. Draw a label diagram of experimental apparatus that could you use to form magnesium oxide from the mineral. So how we can produce magnesium oxide from magnesite? Basically thermal decomposition is there because this is a carbonate. So when I supply heat energy, this will decompose into magnesium oxide plus carbon dioxide. So what is the apparatus for thermal decomposition? If you check this, the first question which we solve, that is actually a apparatus for thermal decomposition. You have to draw this, that here you will have magnesite or magnesium carbonate. You will apply heat energy. On this right hand side there will be a lime water connected by a delivery tube, because magnesium carbonate decompose into magnesium oxide and carbon dioxide. So this solid will turn into magnesium oxide and the carbon dioxide gas given off, which will turn the lime water milky. So that you have to draw there. Observation at the test, because we will test with the lime water, it will turn milky or chalky, right? Magnesium oxide can also be produced by heating magnesium hydroxide. So when we heat when magnesium hydroxide or metal hydroxide is heated, it will result in a formation of metal oxide plus steam. Because the temperature is high, so you don't find water in a liquid state, it will be steam. So equation must be balanced. Equation is already balanced. Then we have to include a state symbol here. Magnesium hydroxide is in a solid state. Magnesium oxide is also solid, and water in a gaseous state as the temperature is high. Then suggest a formula of group 2 hydroxide which is more soluble. So as we know, solubility of hydroxide, as we go down the group, it increases. So any hydroxide we can mention, magnesium is there at the top. So below magnesium we can mention calcium, we can mention strontium, we can mention barium. Any we can write here. So below it's calcium, so I can mention calcium or any other hydroxide. As we know, the solubility increases going down the group. Magnesium oxide can also be easily produced by heating magnesium in air. However, magnesium oxide is not the only product, because magnesium also react with nitrogen and it forms magnesium nitrate. Suggest the formula of a compound formed when magnesium react with nitrogen gas and explain how this product formed even though nitrogen gas is very stable molecule. Give one practical suggestion how this alternative product can be avoided. So first thing, what is the formula of magnesium nitride? Magnesium is group 2, so plus 2 valency, and nitrogen is group 7, so group 5, so minus 3. We cross multiply, so the formula will be Mg3 and N2. Then how this product is formed, what is the reason for formation of the product? Because when we burn magnesium, combustion or burning of a magnesium is exothermic reaction. Exothermic means it release energy. Like when magnesium is reacting with oxygen, it forms magnesium oxide and the reaction is exothermic. And that energy which is released will break the bond of nitrogen molecule and then it is able to react. So burning of magnesium or reaction of magnesium with oxygen is exothermic, which release heat energy. And what is the effect of this heat energy which is released? The energy break the bond of nitrogen molecule, or N2, or nitrogen-nitrogen triple bond, and that's why the nitrogen reacted with magnesium. And what we should do, because we are carrying out in air, so we should carry out the reaction in react oxygen with magnesium in inert environment, or in the presence of, so in inert environment, or we carry out this reaction in the presence of, like, say argon or helium. So when we carry out this reaction in an inert environment, then there will be no further reaction of magnesium with other substance, so we can avoid this product, the unwanted product, as magnesium nitride. The flame tests on a magnesium salt, such magnesium chloride, produce no color. Describe the electronic transition involved in a flame test and suggest why there is no flame color. So in for magnesium chloride, so first thing, you have to write why there is a flame color, and then why magnesium is not producing a flame color. So 1 mark is for mentioning electron move to higher. So you will find this question repeated, and similar question is there. So 1 mark, you will mention electron promoted or electron excited or jump to higher, then it return back, and then it release or radiate or give out energy. But the last step here, this energy is not in a visible range. So electron jumps to or excited to higher level or higher shell by absorbing energy from the flame. That is one thing. Then second, what happened? Electron return to the lower level, then release the energy, or you can also say photon, because that's a light particle. But why for magnesium we are not able to see the color? The energy release is not in the visible range from magnesium. That's why. So this energy is not in a visible range for a magnesium. That's why we are not able to see any characteristic flame color. Is it clear, this question? This is a similar question, and you will find repetition is there. This question repeated many times, that they ask why there is a characteristic flame color is there for different element, or why the flame color is different. Magnesium nitrate is another salt of a magnesium. It decomposes. So when metal nitrate is heated, it gives metal nitride plus, sorry, when magnesium nitrate is heated, because nitrite is there when sodium and potassium nitrate are heated. Other than that, when magnesium nitride, it gives magnesium oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. So we'll see a brown gas is released or a brown gas is given out. So we have to balance this equation. So what number is here? Same number should be on with magnesium, because these are the only two compounds of magnesium. So 3 multiplied by 2, 6. So we have 2, 2 and so 1. So we put 2, oxygen is balanced. But when we put 2, for magnesium is balanced now. And what about nitrogen? 2 multiplied by 2. We have 4 nitrogen. So we put 4 nitrogen. Then to balance oxygen, 3 multiplied by 2, 6 multiplied by 2, 12. So we have to 4 multiplied by 2, 8 plus 2, 10. So we need 12. So that's why we put 4, like 2 we put here, so that we'll have 4 oxygen and total sum will be 12. Give formula for reagent that could be used to produce magnesium sulfate from magnesium oxide. So whenever we want to produce a sulfate salt, we need sulfuric acid. If we need nitrate salt, we need nitric acid. And if we need chloride salt, we need hydrochloric acid. So here we need sulfuric acid to produce magnesium sulfate from magnesium oxide, because metal oxide plus acid gives salt, and magnesium oxide plus acid gives salt and water. Hydrated magnesium sulfate having a formula MgSO4.xH2O. In Epsom salt, the value of X is 7. The value of X can be determined by heating the known mass of the Epsom to remove the water of crystallization. Water of crystallization will be removed. Student carried out determination that originally he was having a 5 gram of Epsom, then the mass decreased to 2.55. So means the hydrated salt, hydrated magnesium sulfate, it was 5, and anhydrous when we remove, that is 2.55. So how much is the mass of the water? If we know the mass of the water, so we have to just take a difference of the two to know the mass of water. So it will be 5 minus 2.55. This will give 2.45. That will be because hydrated means contain water, anhydrous no water. So difference will give us the mass of water, so 2.45. Then this 2.45, that's the mass of the water. We need the moles of the water. So moles will be 2.45 divided by molar mass 18. So that is equal to 0.136 moles. Now we want to take a ratio, because so we should know the moles of magnesium sulfate as well. So 2.55 is basically, this is a mass of magnesium sulfate, and this is a mass of magnesium sulfate plus water of crystallization. So 2.55, the mass of magnesium sulfate divided by molar mass. Magnesium is 24, sulfur is 32, oxygen is 16 multiplied by 4. So when we work out, it will be 25 divided by 120. So it will be 0.021. So these are the moles of magnesium sulfate. Now we need the simplest ratio between them. So magnesium sulfate to water, their mole ratio 0.0211, and this one water is 0.136. To take a simplest ratio, we divide by smallest value, so 0.0211 and 0.0211. So this will be 1, and this is about 6.43. 6.43, but because the water of crystallization should be a whole number, like you cannot have like 6.5 water molecules, so that's why it is about 1:7. So if we have one molecule, there will be 7 molecules of water. Is it clear, this question, that how we work out the water of crystallization present in hydrated compound? So first, taking a difference of hydrated and anhydrous, we get this is the mass of the water. And using the mass of water, we got the moles of water. And this is the mass of anhydrous. We get the moles of anhydrous and take the ratio between anhydrous moles and water moles. We will get the simplest ratio between the water of crystallization present in this compound. Any doubt till this point? Okay, so I'll share another link.